All right. So I got my amazing client here. Her name is Beatrice, and we've been working together the last 5, 6 months, and she's been doing amazing inside the program. And I want to bring her on today, everybody, and just kind of hear what she's done to actually accomplish these goals. And she has a very inspiring story as well. So welcome in, Beatrice. It's nice to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. So Beatrice, tell us a little bit more of just where you were with the health journey before you met me.
So before I met you, I did have a history of working out and I was doing well. Post-COVID, however, I had this medical issue with my foot and I started having these limitations on how to work out. So the routine that I was so used to no longer worked for me. And because of it, I just lost the power or the will to actually continue doing what I was doing. I gained a lot of weight, but most importantly, I just didn't feel as great as I should have been. And that really is what pushed me to look at other methods of how can I keep up with my health wellness and with all the limitations that I currently have.
Hmm. Hmm. I'm sorry to hear about that. I know that was what we talked about before. What was like the moment where you're kind of like a light switch came off? You're like, I need to do something with my scenario, even though like my foot is not at its best. Like, what was that moment for you where there's kind of like the light bulb that switched off for you?
I believe it was just, having this contemplation of I want to do something, I just don't know how to reach it. And all of a sudden, feeling that, if I were to potentially be better with my weight and also be better with my nutrition, it could affect the way that my medical issues were going as well. So I think that really was my push. And then when I saw one of your videos and you actually spoke about some of those limitations, just in general, I thought, oh, this is great. Let me ask more questions. And then from there, it's where I really was inspired to, yeah, I think this is doable. It's not a a piece of, oh, someone's just telling you what to do and then I'll see you next week. It's more of a complete program that would potentially work for me because I needed that at that moment in my life. I needed something that was different and that could actually be unique to me. So I
Mhm.
think that piece really is what pushed me to
Mhm.
start making this like a reality for myself.
Yeah. And I'm glad you made things happen. Specifically with the weight gain, like from like the work and just inactivity, more sedentary lifestyle before you met me, like how was that affecting you, Beatrice, and why did you need to change?
I've I've always had a lot of energy
Yeah.
and I feel that I always am very bubbly and happy. And I saw that with work pushing on me a lot, having long hours. I love what I do, but I also dedicate myself a lot to it. And I just couldn't find a rhythm for myself. And it just really bugs me. There was like this thing in the back of my head that really bugged me, knowing that I was able to get these results in the past. And now I just didn't know how to anymore. I was able to do it in the past. I couldn't do it the same routine like I was doing before. So what now? And it just kept bugging me and I felt exhausted and I just felt like almost beat down. And
Mm.
I was trying my best to do things and I had great support, but the only issue was that I couldn't get past that whole, well, I have this medical thing and what's gonna push me now? Like I don't. It's like um literally starting from square one in my head personally. It probably wasn't, but like in my head it was.
Mm.
So I think that's really what happened at that piece.
And last question about that, like how long was it where there was like that, like the weight gain and also like the foot not being as good as it could be? Like how long was this going on for this period, Beatrice?
This was probably occurring for about a year
Mhm.
or so. I knew that my weight gain was happening probably within like the past 2 years, very slowly. But once the foot issue happened, which was the beginning of last year, there was this whole back and forth of, well, it's just swelling, not really being taken seriously too by like some of the care that I was getting, thinking that, oh, it's gonna pass, it's just small swelling, nothing's gonna really, it shouldn't affect you. So work trying to work out and trying um to do all these things, and then all of a sudden feeling like, well, I'm still gaining weight, and because I can't really do the workouts, and in my mindset, like working out was the way to lose weight. And then that also triggered like emotionally, like, okay, well, I can't really, I don't know what to do with my nutrition. Like, do I not eat? Do I eat? What am I doing? So that whole length of like the first year of gaining weight was just like, okay, well, I can get back to this. And then once the foot issue happened, then it became, okay, it's been 2 years and there's nothing happening. If anything, I feel worse. What can I do? Like, just looking for other channels to really help me personally.
And how much weight again was gained during this period?
Um, Probably about 30 pounds. Yeah.
And you mentioned about the energy levels. Can you touch on that really quick?
So the energy levels, when, especially during COVID, I had a lot of energy. I was working out, I think almost like twice a day at that point, because there really wasn't much else that I could do during COVID. And I had, like, I always was able to push myself to do something if I had the right motivation. Once I started working again and my work style changed, where instead of me moving around and being able to walk all the time, now I was sitting all the time. And I just developed this unknowing factor of, oh, I should probably still continue moving. And I tried to do like the 1 hour walks if I was allowed during lunch. But it just still wasn't enough. I had to really change my mindset on how to get those steps in or how to get that movement in.
Mhm,
So, but because I was sitting all day, my energy didn't allow me to do that. So once I got home, I just felt so like exhausted mentally and physically. It just took its toll. So I never had that energy as I did pre-pandemic or when pandemic had happened. So I
mhm,
think that really had pushed my energy levels to a low,
mhm,
which I thought was going to be able to get out of, but it actually took a little longer than expected.
mhm, mhm. Okay, so thanks for sharing that. I'm glad you come to like a resolution and things are a lot better now. But yeah, tell us about like just where you are right now. Like after doing the program, like what has changed and yeah, what are the results?
Yeah, so I once I started the program, I definitely went into the same mindset as what I used to have. Like, I have to stay on top of everything. I have to make sure I get my minimal workouts in because I really couldn't do much. And you worked so well with me to really focus on my nutrition and my education piece that I really needed. Um, and you really listened to everything that was going in my personal life to understand where I needed some flexibility. And so I lost almost over 20 pounds within the last 6 months. And I really noticed that my energy became a lot greater, but my mindset really changed too, where I wasn't trying to target that 1 hour walk. I just tried to make it work wherever I could. And I wasn't beating myself at towards the end of the program. I wasn't beating myself as hard as I would have in the beginning. And I think that really is important because when you beat yourself down for not accomplishing something, you end up just, you know, coming out of that goal, you end up really discouraging yourself, and then you go back to old bad habits. Whereas the mentality piece really helped here, where it's like, okay, well, I didn't reach what I needed to in steps for today, for example, but I know I can tomorrow. And I know what my limitations were today as to why I couldn't do that. So I did what I could with what I had today. And, working very odd hours or sometimes very long hours, I was still able to get my steps in, which was amazing.
Mhm,
And the and usually we do focus on you lost weight and you did so great. But I think this was more than just the losing weight piece. It was really getting my energy back and understanding my body in a whole nother level that I hadn't in the past. And I think that really did help me and will continue to help me.
mhm, mhm. I'm really glad to hear. And yeah, like the how we get towards a goal is so important, arguably even more important than actually getting towards the final goal. And I could hear like the internal changes, like the mindset towards like the weight loss is a lot different compared to before. Instead of like, going all in and like pushing your bodies to the limits, which the truth is a lot of times it happens with a lot of people and they burn themselves out. So that's why like I'm so big on sustainability, and I'm glad like you see what I see, and like that's one of the most powerful things I don't want my client to be learning. So I'm glad you got that. That's great, Beatrice.
Thank
Yeah.
you. And thank you and the program because it truly was it's the piece, the education piece. I'm like I said, like I came from a background that I know the information, but it was really tailoring it to myself and having that support, not having someone that regardless of what was happening, continue to encourage you and having a group of people that would continue to share all those limitations or all those fears. The group really helps because they're able to talk about things that you may be fearful of sharing yourself. And it just becomes a lot more open, and you're able to ask those questions. And it might be repetitive, it might be questions that you've heard multiple times. And I don't think I've ever seen you say, well, I've already talked about that. It's more of, yes, let's talk about it. We've touched on it. Maybe we need to actually explore it a little bit more. Let's really explore what the main issue is so we can fix it or at least potentially help you. And I really like that piece of the program and the way that you responded to all of us. It was great.
I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, let me actually take note on that. Thanks for that. Thank you.
Yeah.
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 Can you just last few questions here? Can you tell us a little bit more of just like the swelling? Like I know you mentioned about like swelling like before the program. Like how's the swelling been like? Like being down in this weight and being healthier. How's that been recently?
It's been better. I think, working with my primary care and I'm actually, starting to take it seriously and understanding that there is an issue there that we need to fix has helped. And then the program has done an amazing job of helping me understand that although it's a limitation, I can still work well and still lose the weight and also gain back my energy. I think understanding now like my body, understanding which diet recommendation will work. And I don't even want to say diet, just like dietary changes, like my lifestyle changes on how I look at food has helped a lot because, it's swelling and you have to look out for certain foods. You don't want to have like a very fatty or dense meal. You want to have very light meals, but still reach your calorie goals. And this program has really helped me do that. It's been helpful. And yes, I do have my foot that swells from time to time here and there, but I've learned both sides, both the clinical side of like what not to do, and then also this piece, which is the nutrition piece and the mobility piece of, hey, you should probably not do certain things in order to avoid making it a bigger issue. So it's been very helpful.
I'm glad to hear. And I know like the swelling overall did go down to some degree, like doing the program. Is that right?
Yes. So the nutrition piece definitely has helped. Educating yourself on the nutrition for your own personal goals has definitely been a key factor of just knowing that it's almost like a feeling. Like I can almost feel if my foot's about to swell. I know that it's going to. Um, so if I have like let's say like a bad meal, I know, okay, that was not a good thing. So let's not do that again.
Yeah.
Um, and it's definitely been helpful. So thank you.
That's great. Yeah, you're welcome. So last question here. Since you've been able to do this, Beatrice, and once again, like kudos to you, like because you did this with like some limitations and work has been busy as well throughout the entire program. What's your final words for somebody that's listening to this and either they're busy with work and or like they do have limitations, right? Like past injuries, current injuries, like some ailments, like but they want to improve their health and fitness, right? And I know a big part of it is like mindset. Like what did you do to really overcome this? And like what is your recommendation or just like tips for somebody that's going through what you went through before with work, busyness of that, and or like limitations?
Use Adrian to the fullest. That would definitely be my recommendation. I think that I can only speak for myself, but having the limitations and having a very obscure mindset at the beginning of the program, almost like I mentioned, like it almost beats you down. You want to be almost a perfectionist about it, and you want to hit all these great goals. And in the beginning, you're so inspired and you're so encouraged to do so. But just know that the program is there to help you be flexible about it too, like making sure that you sustain this whole entire program and what you've learned for throughout your life. And that's really my recommendation, to take in all the education, to go to the meetings, to share with everybody, because you never know that, because I know that this happened to me. Like the things that I feared, other people were fearing too. And that really opened up a great conversation to learn things that I personally was not truly aware of. It's one thing to say things, and it's another thing to actually do it. So if you utilize the program and you utilize yourself, Adrian, I think that it's really helpful. You have such knowledge, and your past experiences with all these different types of injuries as well. I think sometimes we don't focus on that. Like if you've had a past injury, um, truly does help. And if you're really, really busy, just know that you don't have to get all that movement in. I am very grateful to you, Adrian, because you knew my limitations, and you said it, like just get the movements in that you can when you can, and be very flexible about it. And when you can't do it during the week because of work or the weekend, those days that you do have a little bit open, try to do it. Get creative about how you're going to get your movement in, because again, I wasn't able to really exercise fully. So I just had to like make sure that I was moving with what I could, and it helped. It really did help.
Hmm.
I am I That would be like my one recommendation, but definitely utilize Adrian because his knowledge is very expansive and intense, and it's gonna help out. Like there's no judgment here. I don't think there's ever been judgment. There's just accountability for yourself, because at the end of the day, the program is for you as an individual. So, and Adrian's there, and the whole entire other women in the program are there too, just to encourage you and continue encouraging you.
Hmm. I really appreciate that, Beatrice, and I think like the biggest things for you is like reaching out for help, and being in rooms where people actually are going through similar struggles as you, and like having community and having like the right support. And I'm a full believer in that myself too. Um, I'm really happy to hear about everything that you've been able to achieve, Beatrice. So thank you once again for coming on today. And if you guys are listening to this and you find inspiration, I'm hopeful that you find inspiration from this, because Beatrice's story is definitely a inspiring one. So thank you once again, Beatrice.
Thank you.
Thank you.